Back once again with Raydonna Sims from the Extension Office, and we're going to do a little bit of a canning here. So what would be the first thing that you would do if you wanted to decide to can?
To can, I would get me a good cooker. If you are doing low acid food, then you would use a pressure cooker.
Okay.
High acid, you can use a water bath. This is one type pressure cooker. It has, I do not have the gaskets on,
Okay.
because I keep my gaskets in the freezer
Oh.
because they don't get dry rotted in the
Okay.
freezer. You
Okay.
clean them and put them in the freezer.
All right. I never knew that. That's a good tip. Okay.
But this is a weighted canner, so you don't have to worry about.
Weighted, you said?
Yes, weighted.
Okay.
It just has the weight on it like a home pressure cooker that
Okay.
you're going to do beef stew in.
All right.
And you don't have to worry about watching this gauge.
Ah.
Okay, this is a gauged canner here.
Okay.
And it's important
I
that.
don't think they can see that.
Can you
Why don't
see
we-
it?
Yeah,
Okay, let's put it to the front.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay. It's important that your gauge is calibrated
And we'll turn it
correctly.
this way so that way they
Okay,
can see it.
see the gauge?
Yeah.
Okay. If your gauge, if you're not really sure, if it's been like over 2 years that you've had your pressure canner tested,
Okay.
you need to have it tested if it's new. If it's not new, every year is a good rule of thumb.
And where do you go to get that done?
You can test it at our place
Uh-huh.
at 402 Arnold Street or Mary Carter's.
Oh.
And I normally don't tout a business,
Uh-huh.
but Mary Carter is the only place in Coleman besides us that does that.
And
And
I would imagine they sell them.
they
Right.
sell all the parts.
Okay.
And he's very good to put them on for you.
Okay.
So, but it's really important that your gauge is not off over 2 pounds pressure. If it's off 2 or more, we recommend new.
Okay.
And always have your gaskets. If your canner leaks anywhere around at all while you're canning,
And that would mean steam was coming out,
steam's
right?
coming out,
Okay.
you're not going to have water up to the top like this. It's going to pull the water out of your jars. It makes a siphoning effect. So
Okay.
a lot of people wonder why, when they can,
Uh-huh.
everything had water all the way to the top. Why is the water out?
Right.
There's a lot of different reasons that will happen. One of the reasons is the leakage,
Okay.
improper pressure.
Okay.
If you let your pressure get really high and then you panic and turn it down
Uh-huh.
and it comes down, it does the same thing.
Okay. And you want water to the top so that way it'll continue to preserve all of what's
Yes,
in the can.
and
right?
now, which if the water comes down, it's not going to make it inedible,
Right.
but it's going to make it ugly.
Right.
They're
Those
going to
top,
shrivel.
Those top ones too,
Yes.
huh? Especially are going to be really looking bad.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And if you don't let it cool down on its own without bothering it, without a fan on it or water on it, that will cause it too.
Okay.
But you always want to let it drop its pressure on its own. Don't ever open the petcock here and let the steam out. It sucks that water out.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
So it's a good idea to have some knowledge when you're going to be doing all this. You don't
Yes.
just one day decide, hey, I'm going to do this. It's good to talk to people and figure out exactly what you're doing.
And
right?
one thing is you need to use a USDA approved recipe. A lot of people will call us and ask us all kind of questions like, okay, is my vegetable soup okay to can on pressure for 20 minutes? What do you have in your soup? Well, the usual, we have corn and peas. No. You go to the canning book and you look at the vegetable that takes the longest amount of time. That's what you pressure your soup at.
Okay.
Because that's a low acid, like corn would be
Okay.
a low acid.
Okay.
So it'd be 75 to 85 minutes. So
Wow.
even though it seals, that does not mean that it has reached high enough temperature to kill all the bacteria.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
So it's really important that you do it according to USDA standards.
Is it dangerous to do pressure cooking? I have heard of situations where things has exploded.
Normally, no, because a lot of things happened a long time ago because they didn't have the safety features on the canners that they have now.
Okay.
Plus, people did it on wood stoves. Can you regulate temperature really easy on a wood stove?
No.
So you watch it. You don't put a pressure cooker on the stove and go off and do a load of laundry or fold clothes or go out and hang out a load or something.
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
You stay with this canner.
Okay.
And
watching a boiling, watching boiling water.
Yes, watching a pot boil.
Right.
But you watch your pressure. And when your pressure gets up to 11 pounds, that's what's recommended now.
Okay.
When it gets up to 11 pounds, then you start your timer. Timer is important. You can use your phone, you can use a regular timer, you can use your stove.
Everybody's got a phone
whatever,
nowadays,
yes. But use your timer and time it. And it should be gently. This right here should be gently rocking.
Should be making some
not
noises,
just like that.
Yeah.
It should be gently rocking. And this pressure should remain on 11. On this one, with no pressure gauge, gentle rock. Not just blowing steam out like crazy, just a gentle rock.
Okay.
So, and when you turn your stove up or down, do it a few increments at a time, not all of this. Yes, don't panic and
let's get this thing going here. Ooh, let's turn it way down. Yeah,
But
just be very gentle
of
about
course,
that.
now, if you have walked off and it's in the caution zone, turn it off and get out of the way.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do.
Because it
Turn
just
it off.
might blow on you.
Yes, so
Okay.
you just have to be diligent with it.
Okay.
And there is a few things that we don't recommend canning, and that is very, very low acid foods. One of them is squash.
Oh.
People will call us about, I need a canned squash recipe. Well, number one, if you can squash, you're going to have mush.
Oh.
But if you pickle squash, now that's okay because you're lowering that that pH.
Right,
So you're
adding
high
acid.
You're adding acid.
To it. Okay.
So that's good. But now, if you just can it, it's such a low acid food. We just don't recommend it because it's really dangerous.
Okay.
And
you talked about a water bath. Let's talk
Yes,
about that.
okay,
In case
let's
you
do the
don't
water
have
bath.
Pressure
Okay.
cooker. Okay. And
okay.
these are nice big pots.
Yes.
So.
A water bath canner has to be, let me see if I can open this one up, has to be deep enough that your water is 1.5 to 2 inches above your jars.
Okay. You
Now,
got that. Okay.
this canner here, you can water bath pints in it.
Okay.
But this one, you can also, but you can't do quarts in this and you can in here.
Okay.
Water bath is strictly that, giving it a good hot water bath. And there are times.
That does sterilize it and get
Well-
rid of the bacteria and stuff. Just
Well, it raises the temperature enough that, because like tomatoes, that's a high acid, low pH food. Water bath is fine.
okay.
Green beans? No. You
Okay.
cannot water bath green beans. The temperature does not raise to 240 degrees in a water bath.
Okay.
And
Because
this is
I have canned green beans before in a water bath and then come back later and go, these don't taste so
very
good.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Botulism.
Yeah.
That,
Okay,
That's what you could have gotten.
Okay. No, it's a good thing I threw them out.
Yes. And this is peach pie filling. And it's a water bath.
Okay.
Peach pie filling is one of the easiest things to make, and it is the most delicious, quick.
Of course it is.
Mhm.
Of course
You
it
can
is.
make a peach pie in a blink of an eye with peach pie filling.
Okay, that you got the nice fresh peaches in the summertime, and then
From the
later,
farmer's
and
market.
From the farmer's market, and then the fall you're going, I want a peach pie.
And there
it
you
is.
go.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and salt. When you add salt to your canned goods, make sure that you do pickling or canning salt. Never use iodized salt.
Okay.
Iodized salt will make them turn dark and can make them soft. So
Okay.
always use, and you will know that it's the correct kind of salt if it will clump.
Ah,
If it has a non-caking agent in it, it will be listed on the ingredients.
okay.
That's not good.
Don't use that. Okay.
Yes.
And then you have brought, I guess these are the lids and
Yes,
stuff, right?
uh-huh. These are
'Cause
lids.
We're probably just about out of time, but quickly, how do we make sure that it is actually sealed?
Okay, if it's actually sealed, it will have an indentation and it will go pop.
You'll hear them.
But
Yeah.
do not go through before they do that and go like this.
Ah.
Okay, also, when you're putting your jar lids on, make sure you finger tighten only, like so. Do not get someone to come in and go like this.
Yeah.
Not good.
Okay.
Just good, tight finger tightening,
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
And that's good. And once they have cooled for 24 hours, you can take these rings off. There's
Yeah.
no reason
And then
to
you can
have,
reuse
you
them
can
on
reuse
something
them.
else.
Wash
Because
them
you're
good.
going to need something to actually loosen that can
Yes.
once you, or that jar.
And never use rusted rings and never reuse flats, ever reuse flats. Never.
Okay, good advice. I don't do much canning. I will tell you quickly, I had a garden one time and I decided I was going to use those tomatoes and can those tomatoes, and it took like 1,000 tomatoes to make a jar this big, and I said, never again.
Never again.
Because it takes a lot of tomatoes.
And you know, you do not have to use salt in your, a lot of people are worried about using salt.
Okay.
You do not have to use salt in your recipes. Salt is not a preservative.
Okay.
The
so-
canning is the preservative.
Okay, so it's just for flavor, if
Yes,
you want it for
that's
flavor.
all it is.
Okay. Well, Miss Raydonna Sims, if they have questions, how do they get in touch with you?
At the Extension office at 256-737-9386.
All right, good information, and if you want to do canning, it's really kind of fun. It's a fun thing
Yes,
to get
it
involved
is.
in.
And it's very rewarding.
Yes, it is. All right, don't go away. We'll be back in just a minute.
Good deal.